Hello, I thought we'd start a new series called Purple Pill Poetry. Most of these poems were written by my predecessor James Brockhurst in what you would call the year 2022, or as is written here, the year -2. So to start off with, the first poem is entitled The Energy Flows. Look upward to the night sky. Observe not just those stars. Some just glow, others shoot by. But what of the space in between? The astral picture is just a story, starry and cosmic. To see it, do not neglect what is there for stars to reflect. The stillness, the backdrop, the unseen night, the black, for without the unseen nothing could be seen of the cosmic scene. Waters below, waters above, a stream of consciousness, infinite, impersonal, a power so great, that is love. An energy neither here nor there, an energy, a real potential. It is like a seed scattered everywhere, in fertile soils, the essence essential. Such a seed upon earth it can grow, for the astral reflects the macro and focuses the pinpoints in the internal and external micro. From out of the chaos and blunder, a physical manifestation, love becomes real, a true wonder. Embrace it, no hesitation. Allow me to tell that story, often told in real time it unfolds. For when you let go, surrender to self, love becomes active, not left on the shelf. Those waters above and below, like a stream in the macro, and now that stream in the micro, above is the cloud, here a river Clyde. And so Chaldean, Caledonian, right here the story unfolds, the space given a physical place, the light, the glow, quite near to Glasgow. I put out a wish, I had the desire to ignite the seed of eternal fire. The cosmos heard the heart speak, and then in a moment the light did peak. In Hollytown there really is a crown, it can only be seen with the heart. The Glasgow is a glass glow, a local star that is the energy flow. And that is the end of the first poem. I will read a few more over successive videos, and there will be a Tales to be Told in the Dark, number 29, that I'm looking to give to you later on today. So we'll upload this one. Use your mind's eye, use your imagination to create the visual. I'm just giving you a suggested script, something to uplift, something to inspire. We live in a material world where the material, in the material sense of clothing, is very much off the peg and one size fits all in either small, medium, large, extra large, or right up to, was it 4XXXXX large. 4 crosses for 4 bodies. But this spiritual path that is not material, that comes from the imagination, that comes from creation itself. We walk a very individual path, and there is no one size fits all to anything. All I can give you is testimony of my experience and how I have addressed my unique position and situation. And I invite you to while we're walking on a parallel, while you're walking your spiritual path and I'm walking my spiritual path, we'll often walk alongside each other. Think of the spiritual journey not unlike a journey by public transport, where some will be long distance riders that may go from the start of the route pretty much all the way through to the terminus. Others may be short riders. They may only be on that route for a short time, and then they may go off on their individual path, and you'll see this reflected in the circles of people that you come into contact with that become part of your daily life. Some are just there in the short term, some are very long term. So you can see in this that there is a physical that reflects the metaphysical. And the interesting thing, as I've said before, when you walk this spiritual path, you'll see the world, and the physicality of it doesn't change one bit. This is the strange thing about it. The implication by so many things is it's going to be dazzling lights and almost the dramatic externalization and expressions of the superheroes of, say, the Marvel comic book characters. But that is exactly all they are, comic book characters. But they're also archetypes as well. But don't expect things to be quite so dramatic. You're not going to have laser beam eyes or such like. But you do have a spirit that you can attune to, that opens up a dialogue that will guide you. All you have to do is be the observer. Make no judgments on things as being good or bad. Just stay neutral to it all and just observe. That in itself will reveal, and you'll feel the change, although to the physical eyes nothing seems to have changed. But with practice, what you'll find is that the circle of people that you encounter will also start to change. I'm sorry about the horrible high-pitched noise. That's the warning that the solar panel is no longer working because the sun has sort of plummeted to the other side of the hill. But hey, it's solar power, it's freely given, and it serves well. But it also highlights something about this reality, that everything is finite. It comes to an end just as daylight gives way to night, and then night gives way to day. It is all an ebb and a flow and a contrast. And that is really where to be, just observing it and see there are things that you may not find quite so pleasant, but equally there are things that you will find more conducive, and you will feel more pleasure from them. But you've got to have both to be able to distinguish one from the other. You can't, as Alan Watts would say, unless there was a downhill, you wouldn't know that you're walking uphill. You need the contrast to be able to distinguish. That is what this reality is all about. It is a place to observe. If you think about it in this concept of a utopian paradise, this place called heaven, where there is nothing evil, where there is nothing bad, where there is no death, for example. Consider how in this reality that most people will wrap themselves around, or they see new things and they try and interpret it and put it into things that they're familiar with. But it's really a case of putting yourself in another's shoes and seeing things from another side. So from the perspective, if I can describe it this way, as in like a physical sense, if you were in this heaven and you'd be thinking to yourself, I wonder what death is, I wonder what evil is, I'd like to go and have a look and experience this. And it would be like, well, there's a physical body now coming up, you can jump into that one and then you can experience it. It's a bit like a job vacancy, but no questions asked, it's just, there you go. And you'll find yourself in an experience. And that is all it is. It's, if you look at the material world, it's about data collection. It works on probabilities and predictability because it doesn't have imagination or creation. So therefore it has to work on algorithms and very mechanical and very computerized in the way it operates. And you'll see, as I've mentioned before, you'll see there's patterns and patterns and patterns. And once you recognize those patterns, you can use your imagination, your God-given gift, which is your ability to create as a co-creator. This is the real thing that is being, shall we say, hidden from humanity, that this perceived control system does not want you to find. Now, I don't know what your perception is of the control system. You could see it as this is all a computer game, and like a computer game, it has a built-in adversary to overcome. So this perception of a control system, is it really that evil, or is it just there as a contrast? The way I feel about it is to stay neutral to it, observe it and see it for what it is. You don't have to push against it, because it has at its disposal, although it's all power of illusion, but it's through twinkly lights and bribery that it has plenty of agents to do its bidding. That is, of course, the majority of humanity, who will accept the shortcut gifts, which are actually superficial and finite. But if you can observe these things and recognize them for what they are, you'll see how illusory that power actually is, and you will discover that the real power is within you. Each and every one of you, if you choose to find it. Wow, we've gone up to 13 and a half minutes just from doing a poetry reading and then me going off on a slight little tangent. But I feel it's something that needs to be said and shared, and hopefully it will give you a sort of an insight in at least a conceptualization of a perspective about this reality, your purpose for being here, and how to adjust inside yourself how you interact with that external reality. And you're not then in that victim and fear state, which is actually your own worst enemy. And where is that created? That is also created inside. But if you adjust yourself, that saying, I think it's from the Matrix film, do not try and bend the spoon, comes to mind. Anyway, we'll leave that there and talk again soon.